Hey, this is Joe Price. I just wanted to show you how to help with the 1913 cohort study. It's very easy to help with, and let me just show you kind of the instructions. So I'm going to share my screen. So here we are in all of our tree growth projects, and I'm going to click here on the Google Sheet. And then here you can kind of see our progress each day, but I'm just going to click down, control down, and get the next open spot. So I'll just put my name in there. And then you can just kind of highlight down and just hit Control D. That'll just copy it down. Okay, and then we're just going to open up the first link that comes here. And this is the most important part. This is where you get to decide if it's a match or not. So let's open up the details here. And right away, I see a contradiction right here. This is 1920 census in Brooklyn. Right here's 1920 census in Boston. Also, the immigration year is off a bit. And then none of the kids lined up. So even though I've got pretty good matches on the parents, the birthplace is Russia. Uh, and we are in Brooklyn. So you should always feel comfortable just skipping. And if you skip, you just close source linker and just put a 1. A 1 just means that it's checked. Okay, let's try another one together. Okay, so then again, it opens up. You can see here we have one of the kids lining up. We've got Brooklyn, New York. We can open these up. So this one's actually looking much, much better. Okay, you can see the immigration is off just a little bit, but it's pretty close. And again, we have Brooklyn. There's nothing really contradicting. The names are lining up. Oh, shoot. You know what? I spoke too soon. Everything was looking really good. I still think this is probably a match, but the Mike's birth year is off by 10 years. So I'm going to actually just pass on this one, and that's totally fine. We're in Brooklyn right now. This is probably one of the harder places to do this. Once we get into some of the smaller cities in New York, it'll be a little bit easier. Okay, you can see here I have lots of people lining up. So again, I can see Brooklyn lining up. I can see all the names lining up really well. And so this one looks like a great match. And so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to hit compare, add, and attach. And I do that for each of the people. And then notice the cool thing is Josephine gets added to the tree. Now, if you download the Goldie May bookmark, you can also just use that. So I will often just use that so it can do all the clicking for me. And then the nice thing also then is you can even just pull it over here to the side so it'll just finish up and you can start on the next one. Okay, let's do one more together and then I'll just show you a couple power tools that can be really useful. Okay, so again, now here's a case where, I'm seeing some kids lining up, but a lot are not lining up very well. And so I'm just going to make a call on that one. Now, again, it could be a match, and the wife's name, the last name's different. So again, these are just coming from, match files we got from Family Search, and especially in Brooklyn, these can be really hard at times. Okay, let's take a look here. We got birth info lining up, names lining up. The last name's a little bit different. The wife's name's off by a little bit. That's quite a bit, but my experience has been that the kids' birth years tend to line up a little bit more. And also, I don't know if you saw what I did there. I just kind of dragged it because I think Tony and Anthony are the same person. So I think this is just a case where the mother's birth year is off by a little bit, but I'm seeing a lot of things that line up really well. So I'll just attach those. Okay, so that's really the task. So you should never feel bad skipping a family if you're not sure. We're trying to use all the information we can to decide if they're the same family. And when we're in big cities like Brooklyn or Manhattan or Bronx, it can sometimes be hard to tell. And so, especially in the big cities, you should feel comfortable skipping. Okay. And let me just show you a couple things that are useful. If you highlight multiple cells, you can hit Alt and Enter at the same time, and they will open up. And I find that's useful because then I don't have to wait for them to load up. Okay, so this is a one where I only have the one person matching, but this looks like a pretty good match just off of that one. Okay, and this is maybe why the family never got added. This is honestly what you're seeing here is a possible match. These are always really hard to tell given the information, but one thing you can do is sometimes pull this open in just a different window, just so you can look at everyone. You can see there he is with his kids, Michael, Frank, Daniel, Annie. If we come back here, we've got Ida and Arnold. Yeah, so I'm not, just from the information I have here, I can't really tell that that's a match. So I'm just going to hit create new person. And then once you do that, then you can hit attach records. That might have been why Philip was there by himself. Maybe someone else was doing their family history and then, um, wasn't quite sure what to do about that. Now here's another one of those. Again, we have Russia over here. This could be a match, but again, I think in many cases, it's probably better to have a duplicate on the tree than to munge two families together. Okay, you can see there's Arnold. Okay, so we've finished this family, and the neat thing now is, Philip was there on the tree by himself. Now he's got a dad and a couple siblings, and that'll make the record hints that start to show up for him even better. Okay. One other thing that I'll show, again, here's a case where I think we should probably bring her down. If I look at the other information, everything's lining up really well. Now here's something I like to do. I have this window over here. I then pull this over, and it allows me actually to have kind of two going at once. And that way I can spend most of my time making decisions. Now notice this, that's all done. That's great. If it's all green, you can just skip it. We try to keep the sheet pretty clean, but sometimes that happens. Now this is an interesting case where the surname is different, but you can see all the names lining up really well. And then I don't think it's that much of a stretch to think that Max is an Americanized version of Mendel. Because all the other names are lining up really well and he kind of fits right there. Okay, now notice here, it did not add Annette or Irvine because they were born after 1913. Now we have some ways that we're planning to help them out, but you don't have to worry about them for this project. Okay, so again, the nice thing here is that I can spend my time focusing on the decision. This one looked like a pretty good match, except the parents' names are pretty far off. Probably is still a match, but I'm gonna pass on that one. Same thing here. I don't have any of the kids lining up. Let's see, we got Brooklyn, got Russia. So this one actually, it's a pretty unique surname. So I think that one's going to be fine. And again, these are just going to be your decisions about whether it's correct or not. And notice here that I'm all done with those hints. And you can see that just in a little bit that we've been working together, we were able to do quite a few, but you can go as fast or as slow as you want. It's really about making good decisions about matches. And the key thing is when we do find the matches, then they allow people to find their family. Okay, this is one, this is kind of like a trickier one. So I think this one's probably a match. I think like Rose and Rhoda are probably the same person, and Silly and Sylvia, but I'm not so sure on that one. So even though I think it's a match, I'll probably skip on that one. Okay, so I hope this has been a helpful video, and if you want to know how to get Goldie May bookmarks, you can kind of go to Goldie May and see some of those tools. And then if you want to get better at using SourceLinker, I'd probably recommend sourcelinker101.com, and I'll put both of those in the notes. But thanks for helping with this project. We're really excited to have your help and to try to make sure that everyone that was born in 1913 can be on the family tree.